Every morning when you open your eyes, you're not stepping into comfort. You're stepping onto a battlefield. It may look like your bedroom. It may look like your kitchen, your office, your daily routine. But beneath the surface, it is something far more dangerous. It is the battlefield of your own mind. And this is where most people surrender before the day has even begun. They roll out of bed already carrying chains. Chains of yesterday's regrets, chains of tomorrow's fears, chains of distractions that poison the present moment before it can even breathe. But Stoicism cuts through all of this like a blade. It tells you the fight is not against the world outside. It is against the chaos inside. It whispers, anchor yourself. Hold the line. Do not lose the day. Seneca once thundered, begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life. Let that burn in your chest. Because if today was the only life you were given, if there were no repeats, no second chances, no rewinds, how would you walk through it? Would you drag your feet, half asleep, lost in empty noise? Or would you stand tall, speak with fire, love with more depth, and fight like hell for the best version of yourself? Doing your best is not perfection. Perfection is a lie. Doing your best is presence. It is standing in the arena of today with scars on your body, pain in your bones, and yet still refusing to bow to mediocrity. It is showing up with integrity when no one is watching, when the world is silent, and when your own doubts scream the loudest. Doing your best is not grinding yourself into dust. It is becoming unshakable. The storms will come. They always do. Friends will betray you. Enemies will whisper. Your mind will try to pull you into shadows of envy, fear, or despair. But a Stoic knows the truth. We cannot command the storm, but we can command the sails. And that choice, that strength, that discipline, that is where your best is forged. I want you to understand this isn't theory. This isn't some neat philosophy to scribble on a notebook. These are wounds I've carried, lessons I've bled for, nights when I drowned in silence, and mornings when I rose from ashes. I know the crushing weight of yesterday pressing against your chest. I know the slow suffocation of self-doubt. I know the feeling of staring at yourself in the mirror and thinking you are not enough. And I also know the resurrection. I know what it means to sharpen yourself in solitude, to rise when everything conspired to bury you, to walk back into the fire with unshakable eyes. That is why this message is not just words. It is war paint. It is fire. It is blood. In this video, I will hand you 8 Stoic secrets for doing your best every single day. These are not distant, abstract lessons carved into dusty books. These are weapons, shields, maps carved out of scars and lived battles. They will not simply guide you, they will ignite you. And if you let them sink into your bones, you will learn to face each day not as a victim, not as a wanderer, but as a warrior who refuses to surrender. So I want you to lean in. Let the words cut through the noise in your head. Don't treat this as another casual video you half-watch. Treat this as a message you needed to hear today, maybe the very thing that keeps you from collapsing under the weight of your own doubts. Every secret I share is a key, and when you gather all of them, when you unlock their power together, you will hold something greater than strength. You will hold freedom, like this video. Share it with someone whose fire is dying. Subscribe, because what I bring you is not content. It is armor for the soul. And before we begin, drop this into the comments right now. Today, I will give my best. Not tomorrow. Not when life is easier. Not when the storms pass. Today. Because today is all you will ever truly own. Now let's get into it. You wake up, And before your feet even touch the ground, the world crashes into you. A screen lights up, and suddenly you're chained. Notifications claw at you, messages scream for your attention. Social media flashes like a circus of masks. Everybody's pretending, everybody's winning, everybody's laughing louder than you. News headlines bleed with panic, making you believe the sky is falling faster than yesterday. And in less than 10 minutes, your peace has been stolen. Your spirit has been hijacked. You're already running a race you never agreed to run, gasping before you've even started. Now stop. Rip that image apart, because your mind at dawn is supposed to be something else entirely. It's a lake at sunrise, untouched, still, sacred. The surface shines like glass, clear enough to see every hidden depth. That's the raw canvas of your soul. But instead of protecting it, you hurl rocks into it with your own hands. Scroll, compare, react. The ripples spread like poison. The surface fractures. The water distorts. You can't see through it anymore. And here's the nightmare. You don't even realize you've blinded yourself. You've murdered your own clarity before the day even had a chance to breathe. Seneca understood this savage truth while standing at the edge of his own death. Exiled, betrayed, forced to bleed out by command of an emperor, he still whispered, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." He wasn't romanticizing life. He was carving survival into stone. He knew that each sunrise was rebirth, but only for those who seized it before the world could corrupt it. Even in chains, even in exile, even with death knocking on his door, his mornings belong to him. And that is the kind of power most people will never touch, because they give it away every single day without a fight. So here's the brutal demand. Before you let the world claw into you, steal 5 minutes for an unflinching confrontation with yourself. Not breathing techniques, not chants, not rituals, just raw, bare-knuckled truth. Ask the one question most people are too terrified to face. How do I actually feel right now? Strip away the masks, the lies, the Instagram filters you put on your own soul. Are you crawling with anxiety? Are you burning with ambition? Are you secretly drowning in silence? Don't run from it. Don't hide it. Don't dress it up. Stare straight into it, because that is your mirror. And if you avoid it, the day will devour you alive. This isn't therapy. This isn't meditation. This is war. A war against the chaos of unconscious living. Because if you don't claim those first minutes, you will be owned by everything and everyone. But when you know your starting point, when you stand naked in front of that mirror of truth, you stop being a puppet. You stop being the plaything of circumstance. You become the one writing the script instead of stumbling through someone else's tragedy. I've seen it in every powerful soul I've met. The CEO, building an empire, brick by bloody brick. The artist pouring their nightmares into a canvas that outlives them. The parent raising children in a world designed to break them. They all know the secret. If you don't own the inside, the outside will crush you. And when the inside is claimed, when the morning mirror has been faced, there is no storm, no betrayal, no disaster that can shake you. Because the chaos outside becomes nothing but noise, and you are the one who decides what it means. The morning mirror of truth is not gentle. It's not pretty. It's not polite. It will strip you, expose you, terrify you, but it will save you. And once you dare to look into it, your mornings will no longer belong to the world. They will finally, fiercely, belong to you. You're stuck in traffic, already running late for an important meeting. Your heart starts racing, your palms get sweaty, and you can feel that familiar surge of frustration building in your chest. You honk your horn, curse under your breath, and let your entire day be derailed by something completely outside your control. Sound familiar? We've all been there, haven't we? What if I told you that in this exact moment you're sitting on a goldmine of untapped power? Not the power to magically clear traffic or bend reality to your will, but something far more valuable: the power to master elegant indifference to what you cannot control. This isn't about becoming cold or detached. It's about becoming strategically selective with your emotional energy. Think of your emotional energy like a smartphone battery. You start each day at 100%, but every time you get upset about traffic, frustrated with difficult people, or anxious about outcomes beyond your influence, you're draining that battery. By noon, you're running on 30%, feeling exhausted and reactive. But what if you could end most days still at 80% or 90%? What if you had abundant energy for what truly matters? Epictetus, who was born a slave and understood powerlessness better than anyone, gave us this revolutionary insight. Some things are within our power, while others are not. He taught that we suffer not because of what happens to us, but because of our judgments about what happens to us. The traffic jam isn't the problem. Your belief that it shouldn't exist is the problem. Picture two people in identical situations, both stuck in the same traffic jam, both late for important meetings. Person A is gripping the steering wheel, stress hormones flooding their system, arriving angry and scattered. Person B uses the time to listen to an audiobook, practice gratitude, or simply breathe deeply, arriving calm and centered. Same external circumstances, completely different internal experiences. This elegant indifference isn't apathy, it's strategic wisdom. You're not giving up. You're choosing your battles. You're not becoming emotionally numb. You're becoming emotionally intelligent. When you stop wasting energy on things you can't control, you have massive reserves for things you can control: your effort, your attitude, your responses, your growth. Start small. The next time you're in line and it's moving slowly, instead of getting frustrated, use it as a practice round. Observe your impulse to be annoyed, then consciously choose a different response. Feel that moment of freedom when you realize you don't have to be a prisoner of circumstances. Picture this. You're lying on the cold bathroom floor at 3 a.m., tears mixing with the tile, feeling like your entire universe just exploded into a million irreparable pieces. Your heart isn't just broken, it's been put through a meat grinder and scattered to the winds. That job that defined your identity, gone. That relationship you built your future around, ashes. That dream you bled for, murdered by reality. You're not just disappointed, you're emotionally annihilated, questioning whether you're fundamentally flawed, whether success was ever meant for someone like you. Listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you will shake you to your very core and ignite something primal within your soul. In that precise moment when you feel most destroyed, most worthless, most utterly defeated, that's when you're actually pregnant with your most magnificent rebirth. Every soul-crushing failure is a phoenix egg incubating in the flames of your despair, waiting for you to become the arsonist of your own resurrection. This isn't some feel-good fairy tale. This is the brutal, beautiful truth about human transformation. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man who ever lived, watched his children die in his arms, felt betrayal slice through his heart like a blade, witnessed his empire crumble while plagues ravaged his people. Yet this titan of resilience wrote words that echo through eternity. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. He discovered the secret that separates legends from losers. Failure isn't your enemy. It's your violent, passionate teacher disguised as destruction. Your character is forged in the fires of catastrophe, not in the comfort of success. Every devastating blow is your soul doing deadlifts with destiny. Every heart-wrenching loss is your spirit sparring with greatness. The universe isn't punishing you. It's sculpting you with a sledgehammer, chiseling away everything weak until only diamond remains. But here's the earth-shattering truth most people never grasp. The phoenix doesn't rise because it feels ready. It rises because it chooses to burn brighter than its circumstances. You must become the alchemist of your own agony. When failure sucker punches you into the dirt, don't just survive. Transmute that pain into pure rocket fuel. Ask the questions that terrify mediocre minds. What is this catastrophe teaching me about my untapped power? How is this devastation redirecting me toward my true calling? Your failures aren't tombstones marking your limitations. They're treasure maps leading to your hidden greatness. Every scar is a victory tattoo. Every breakdown is a breakthrough in disguise. Every time you rise from the ashes, you're not just surviving, you're becoming legendary. You set a goal and it burns in you like wildfire. You imagine the victory, the applause, the moment where everything finally clicks. You start with adrenaline, with fire in your veins, convinced nothing can stop you. But then life bares its teeth. Progress slows to a crawl. Obstacles you never expected slam into your path. Doubt becomes a shadow following you everywhere you go. And then comes the voice, the cruel whisper that has killed more dreams than failure ever has. Maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you're not built for this. Look how easy it seems for others. Look how heavy it feels for you. That whisper crawls into your mind and poisons your will until giving up starts to sound like relief. Until mediocrity starts to look safer than ambition. But here lies the secret most will never uncover. The outcome is not your master. The process is. If you chain your identity to the outcome, every setback will feel like a death sentence. If you worship the trophy, every stumble will feel like proof you'll never touch it. But if you fall in love with the process, the daily grind, the unglamorous repetition, the sweat nobody applauds, then nothing can take your victory away. Because in process, there is no failure. There is only practice, only becoming. Seneca, who walked through exile, wealth, betrayal, and the slow bleed of his own death sentence, understood this like few men ever have. He wrote not of worshipping success, but of anchoring yourself in daily action. He knew that outcomes are fickle, often stolen by forces outside your control, but process belongs to you. That is why he taught that every end is also a beginning, every result born of consistent motion. To chase outcomes is torture. To embrace process is freedom. Look at the runners on the same path. One is obsessed with the clock, strangled by comparison, gasping under the weight of expectation. Every step feels like judgment, every second proof of worth or worthlessness. The other simply shows up, breathing deep, listening to the rhythm of the road, strengthening body and spirit, one stride at a time. Who do you think reaches the finish line stronger? The one chained to an outcome that moves like a mirage, or the one who made the process his home? This principle is not about fitness, not about money, not about relationships. It's about the foundation of how you live. I must lose 30 pounds is a prison. I love how my body feels when I fuel it right is liberation. I must make 6 figures will suffocate you. I'm sharpening skills that can never be taken away will set you free. I must find my soulmate leaves you desperate. I am becoming the kind of person worth loving makes the world chase you. The process is where transformation lives, not the goalpost that keeps running from you. When you are married to the process, setbacks stop being verdicts. They become teachers. Bad days lose their power to define you. Slow progress becomes proof that you are building something unshakable, brick by brick. This is what the Stoics called the discipline of desire, to crave the work itself, to want what you already hold, while building relentlessly toward what you don't yet have. And here is the real magic. The person you become through the process is worth more than any trophy. The confidence etched into your bones, the discipline carved into your routine, the resilience fused into your spirit. This is wealth that no market crash, no betrayal, no failure can steal. Outcomes will come and go, crowds will cheer and then forget. But the man or woman forged in the fire of process, untouchable, unstoppable, that is eternal. The discipline of desired outcomes is not about chasing results. It is about building a self so strong that the results chase you. Your mind is a runaway freight train careening through time, and you're trapped in the passenger car, helpless and nauseated. You're sitting in a meeting, but your consciousness is hijacked, mentally rehearsing tonight's soul-crushing conversation on repeat. You're mechanically shoving lunch into your mouth while your brain tortures you with this morning's humiliating interaction. You're lying in bed, exhausted, but your mind is a buzzsaw of anxiety, already mutilating tomorrow's deadline. You are everywhere, except the one place where miracles happen. Right here, right now, in the only moment where life is actually pulsing with possibility. Stop. Take a breath so deep it reaches your soul. What if I told you that you're sitting on a throne of infinite power, but you keep abandoning it to chase ghosts in time? The present moment is your sanctuary of power, and you always have the key. Not tomorrow when conditions are perfect, not when you've solved all your problems, not when you've achieved some Zen master state. Right now, in this exact breath, in this precise heartbeat. Marcus Aurelius, while commanding legions and wrestling with the weight of civilization on his shoulders, discovered this earth-shattering truth. Confine yourself to the present. This emperor of the world understood that anxiety is a vampire feeding on imaginary futures. Regret is a parasite devouring yesterdays that no longer exist, but power, raw, untamed, life-changing power, lives exclusively in the sacred now. Every second you spend mentally time-traveling is a second of your precious life force hemorrhaging into nothingness. Remember the last time you were so absorbed in pure aliveness that time ceased to exist. Maybe you were lost in a child's laughter, your hands creating something beautiful, or locked in soul-deep conversation where nothing else mattered. In those electric moments, there was no past haunting you, no future terrorizing you, just pure, undiluted existence flowing through your veins like liquid fire. That wasn't a mystical accident. That's your birthright screaming to be reclaimed. But here's the mind-blowing revelation. You don't need paradise to access this power. You can find transcendence in washing dishes, feeling warm water baptize your hands. You can discover ecstasy in walking, each step a love letter between your feet and the earth. You can unearth magic in breathing, witnessing the miracle of air becoming life in your lungs. The ordinary world transforms into a cathedral of wonder when you bring your full, fierce attention to it. This isn't spiritual bypassing. This is spiritual warfare against the forces trying to steal your life, one distracted moment at a time. When you anchor yourself in what is, you respond from unshakable wisdom rather than scattered reactivity. Start now. Drink your coffee like it's Holy Communion. Listen like someone's soul depends on it. Walk like you're dancing with existence itself. You're a walking corpse masquerading as a living human being, mindlessly thumb-scrolling through the infinite void of digital hell at 11 p.m., your eyeballs searing like they've been dipped in acid, hypnotically feeding your soul to the ravenous beast of meaningless content. Your entire day was a ghostly sleepwalk through existence, bulldozing through conversations like they're obstacles to eliminate, mechanically shoveling food into your mouth while your mind hemorrhages attention in 17 different directions, robotically checking boxes on someone else's agenda while your authentic self screams from a soundproof prison. You crash into bed carrying that bone-deep, marrow-rotting emptiness, another irreplaceable day of your one wild and precious life, incinerated on the altar of unconsciousness, dissolved into the black hole of forgotten moments that you'll never, ever get back. But right now, in this exact nanosecond, I'm about to detonate a truth bomb that will either awaken your soul or terrorize you into paralysis. What if I forced you to stare into the face of the most savage, most beautiful reality in the universe? That you are actively dying, that your death certificate is already written, that the Grim Reaper is breathing down your neck with every heartbeat, and every moment you waste scrolling, complaining, or sleepwalking is literally murdering your own potential for transcendence. Your time is hemorrhaging away like blood from a severed artery, and that brutal truth should ignite your existence like a nuclear explosion of pure, undiluted aliveness. This isn't morbid philosophy. This is the most savage wake-up call your unconscious mind will ever receive, designed to resurrect you from the living death of automation. Seneca, who survived assassination attempts and watched empires crumble while staring mortality directly in its terrifying eyes, carved these words into eternity. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Imagine a cosmic sniper aimed at your forehead right now, and you have exactly 365 days before the trigger pulls. How would that knowledge incinerate every false priority polluting your existence? You wouldn't waste another precious second tolerating energy vampires disguised as relationships. You wouldn't postpone telling your loved ones they're the reason your heart still beats. You wouldn't sleepwalk through another conversation when you could be drinking in their voice like it's the last music you'll ever hear. Here's the earth-shattering, mind-obliterating truth that should make you weep with gratitude and terror simultaneously. You don't need a death sentence to start living like you're sentenced to death, because every human being alive right now is on death row with an unknown execution date. Every sunrise is borrowed time from the universe. Every heartbeat is your body defying the inevitable. Every breath is a rebellion against the cosmic forces trying to reclaim your atoms. That conversation terrorizing your comfort zone, your mortality transforms it into a life or death mission. That dream suffocating under layers of excuses and procrastination. Death makes it as urgent as your next breath. That love you've been rationing like it's a finite resource. The reality of loss should make you pour it out like water in a desert. This apocalyptic awareness doesn't manufacture anxiety. It annihilates the luxury of postponement and gives birth to warrior-like urgency. Suddenly, scrolling feels like stealing from your own deathbed. Complaining about minor inconveniences becomes impossible when you realize you're complaining about the privilege of being temporarily alive. Delaying meaningful work transforms into an act of self-betrayal, when you understand that this day might be your final opportunity to leave something beautiful behind. Someone just eviscerated your work in front of a room full of witnesses, and you feel your soul crumbling like ancient parchment in flames. Your heart doesn't just sink, it plummets into a bottomless abyss of shame, while your face burns with the nuclear heat of humiliation. That savage inner voice, your own personal terrorist, immediately launches a full-scale assault on your psyche. They've exposed you for the worthless fraud you've always been. Everyone can see through your pathetic facade now. You should crawl into a hole and disappear before you humiliate yourself any further. You're drowning in vulnerability so raw, it feels like your skin has been ripped off, like you're a fragile paper doll that any harsh word can incinerate into nothingness. Listen carefully, because I'm about to reveal something that will make your blood turn to liquid electricity. Right now, while your chest feels like it's being crushed by an invisible anvil, and your mind is spiraling into the abyss of self-doubt, you're actually witnessing the death of your false self, and from these ashes, something magnificent is about to claw its way out of the grave. That critic who just shredded you to pieces, they're not your enemy. They're the unwitting midwife delivering you into a new dimension of existence where other people's opinions become as irrelevant as yesterday's weather forecast. You've been living your entire life as a broken marionette, dancing to the twisted music of external validation, but those strings just got severed, and now you're about to discover what it feels like to move with the raw, untamed power of authentic self-determination. This isn't some feel-good therapy session or Instagram wisdom. This is the moment your soul stops apologizing for existing and starts demanding the respect it has always deserved. Epictetus, who endured the soul-crushing brutality of slavery before ascending to become one of history's most revered philosophers, unleashed this world-shattering revelation: no one can harm you without your permission. Absorb the revolutionary power pulsing through those words. A man who owned nothing, who could be beaten or sold at will, who had zero external power, discovered the ultimate sovereignty, complete dominion over his own mind, his own reactions, his own unshakable sense of self-worth that no master could touch. Envision two souls receiving identical verbal daggers aimed at their hearts. Person A's entire world implodes. They torture themselves with self-doubt for weeks, carrying the wound like a festering infection that poisons every future interaction. Person B receives the criticism like a warrior catching arrows, examines each one for useful metal, extracts whatever wisdom exists, and tosses the rest into the fire of irrelevance while remaining completely centered in their own unshakable power. Identical attacks, but one person bleeds while the other becomes stronger. Your internal fortress isn't constructed in a single moment of inspiration. It's forged through daily acts of self-loyalty that would make ancient warriors weep with respect. Every time you choose your own vision of yourself over someone else's limited perspective, you're laying titanium foundation stones. Every time you act from your deepest values, rather than desperately seeking approval from people who don't even know your story, you're building walls that could withstand nuclear war. Every time you speak to yourself with the fierce compassion you'd show your dearest friend in crisis, you're creating an inner sanctuary so powerful that criticism becomes nothing more than background noise to your unstoppable march toward greatness. You're sprawled across your bed, like roadkill on the highway of existence, your mind a torture chamber replaying today's greatest hits of moral bankruptcy. You detonated verbal napalm at your partner, because a coffee cup was left on the counter, a coffee cup that will outlive your relationship if you keep weaponizing your mouth like a sociopathic toddler. You demolished a project with the artistic integrity of a drunk vandal because your addiction to rushing turned excellence into a foreign concept. You stepped over a human being drowning in desperation like they were invisible street furniture because your precious schedule was apparently more sacred than basic human decency. The weight crushing your ribcage isn't just shame. It's the horrifying recognition that you're actively murdering the person you swore you'd become, strangling your potential with the rope of moral laziness. Here's the plot twist that's about to detonate your entire worldview like a philosophical atomic bomb. Every single moral failure is actually your soul's way of screaming, "Wake the fuck up before you become a walking corpse of wasted potential." Right now, while you're drowning in the quicksand of self-loathing, the universe is offering you a deal that would make angels weep with jealousy. Tomorrow isn't just another random collection of 1,440 minutes. It's a blank canvas where you get to paint your character with brushstrokes of virtue so magnificent that your future self will bow down in gratitude to your present self for not giving up when everything felt hopeless. This isn't about becoming some plastic saint who never makes mistakes. This is about understanding that your character is the only masterpiece you'll ever create that death cannot steal, corruption cannot taint, and time cannot erase. Marcus Aurelius, who could have conquered nations for breakfast and enslaved millions before lunch, instead chose to conquer himself and wrote words that still give philosophers orgasms. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. This man understood the secret that makes billionaires cry themselves to sleep. Every external achievement is just expensive wallpaper covering the rotting walls of an empty life. But character is the architectural foundation that determines whether you build a cathedral or a shack with your existence. Scan your memory banks for the humans who didn't just pass through your life, but rewrote your spiritual DNA through sheer force of character. You don't remember their paychecks or their possessions. You remember the way their presence felt like finding water in a desert of mediocrity. The teacher who saw light in you when you were convinced you were made of darkness. The friend who became your personal superhero when everyone else revealed themselves as cardboard cutouts. They didn't change you through their achievements. They alchemized your soul through their relentless commitment to being extraordinary humans in a world addicted to ordinary bullshit. Every interaction is now a gladiatorial arena where you can either practice virtue like a warrior or surrender to weakness like a coward. When someone treats you like human garbage, you can forge patience in the fires of their toxicity. When shortcuts whisper seductive lies about easy success, you can choose integrity over instant gratification. When fear tries to turn you into a trembling prisoner, you can practice courage that would make ancient warriors salute your bravery. You now hold 8 keys that can unlock a completely different way of living. Not someday when circumstances are perfect, but starting right now with your next choice, your next breath, your next moment of awareness. These Stoic secrets aren't just ancient philosophy. They're practical tools for the modern battles you face every single day. The morning chaos that used to overwhelm you. You now have the mirror of inner awareness. The failures that used to devastate you. You now see them as phoenix moments. The anxiety about outcomes. You now find peace in process. The scattered mind. You now have the sanctuary of presence. Remember, transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens through consistent daily practice, one small choice at a time. Choose clarity over chaos. Choose process over outcomes. Choose virtue over validation. Choose presence over mental time travel. Your best life isn't waiting somewhere in the future. It's available right here, right now, through how you choose to show up today. The Stoics discovered this truth over 2,000 years ago, and it's just as powerful now as it was then. If this video impacted you, smash that like button, share it with someone who needs these truths, and subscribe for more life-changing wisdom. Your journey to becoming unshakable starts now.